Hello there everyone, thank you so much for coming back. Today is a 3-in-1 video. This is not only a Let's Build, which I rarely do, it also is a Q&A video based on questions that I received in the Facebook group, and it's also a build that is for two of my subscribers. Selah, and I hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly, ask for a home for a single mom with a preteen, and Corrupted Foxy asked for a single mom of one's home. So that's what this is, and you'll see as we go along, and I think it's probably going to be a pretty long video, but I am trying to edit out all of the scrolling, at least most of it. I'm going to try not to edit the voiceover too much unless I need to pause it and come back to it, but that's what we're doing today. So as you see me build, I'm going to tell you a little bit about what I'm doing as I go along, but I'm going to also answer some of the questions that I received on Facebook. So I also have a few questions from Messenger as well. So Catrice asked me, what's the longest time that I spent on building a home? That is by far my townhome community. I did a tiny townhome community as well, but this is the regular townhome community, and I'll try to either put a link down below or maybe an I somewhere through here. That townhome community, and if you watch the video, you'll understand because I go through the whole process with you of me building that. That was a really fun build, but it took me over a week, if I'm not mistaken, to build that project, and I actually hit the object cap while building that, so that got a little bit frustrating, but it was really fun, and it has a street that wraps around it. It's a really neat build. It has a little security area in the front, but if I fail to put the I above with the link, you can always search for it on my channel as well. And I also wanted to mention while I'm building this, if you're new here, this is what I consider a room by room build. So you saw me build the garage there and completely furnish it out. Now I'm working on the kitchen. So a lot of times when I build this way, it turns out as a total surprise, shape of the home included. So I build one room, decorate it, and then plan ahead for where you can see here I want a doorway to go to the next room, possibly two rooms as you just saw there, and then I finish out the room completely decorating it. Now I will say for this video and for some others that I do, it'll start out as a room by room build like this, but then I'll either start to run out of time because, real life happens, or it gets a little bit complicated. So sometimes once I get upstairs, just like you'll see later on in this video, I end up planning out the rest of the rooms. But most of my builds are completely room by room, like you see me doing right here. And I'll just completely finish out the builds like that. But again, in this video you're watching now, I do end up planning out the upstairs, as you'll see here in just a little while. So next question is from Darkly. Darkly asks, when and how did you start playing The Sims? And then she has another follow-up question after that. I started playing Sims Freeplay in late 2011. It's whenever the game first came out. I was actually getting ready to have my youngest child, and I got my first iPad, and I didn't know a whole lot about, tablets, and I just started looking through apps, and where I love to build and decorate, Sims Freeplay was brand new, and it really caught my eye. I guess it was probably being heavily promoted where it was a new app by EA, so I downloaded it and started playing it, and it took me a really long time to realize certain things about the game. When I first started, I didn't even realize at first that you could actually build your own home, because when you first start playing, they give you that first template home, right? So I was just playing with my Sims and going through all of the prompts and doing all the tasks to advance and buying new things, and just kept redecorating that one house. Then I bought the second template house and did the same thing. And then I noticed blank lots. So once I figured that out and I could build my own house, even though I was pretty new in the game with a very limited budget, I just kept doing everything I was supposed to do with my Sims, sending them to work, school, and all of that. And I would sell items that I really didn't care for and try to save up so that I could build my own house. And I remember the first house that I ever built on my own in the game. And I think it was last year I did a remake of that house because I remember exactly what that house looked like. And I'll try to dig up that video, but I do remember it was an exact replica of that very first house. And Darkly also asks, where do you get your inspiration to do your interior designs from? Well, mostly just from my own mind. I just like to play around and just decorate and come up with new things. I'm guilty of repetition because I know how I decorate in real life. So if we have items in the game that resemble things that I either have or would like to have in real life, then I tend to go toward that. But also, as far as inspiration goes, sometimes I'll just see a room on the internet and that will get me going as far as color schemes go. So it really depends. It has a lot to do with how I like to decorate in real life, as well as just kind of what I see online. So you can see here I have done the garage and the kitchen, and now I'm doing the dining room. And you probably have seen me just go back and adjust things, but while I'm working on that room, if it's a true room by room build, I try to finish it all up except for maybe some little odds and ends that I save for the very end of the build. Sometimes that just includes light fixtures, things of that nature, or sometimes I'll just run back through the house and look around and maybe want to change one or two little details. So that is the garage and the kitchen and the dining area. And you can see me here trying to plan out the next room, which is the living room. So I'll start with one size here, and a lot of times you'll just see me resize because remember, even though I'm decorating one room at a time and building one room at a time, I still have to think a little bit ahead, because if I don't, I'll back myself into a corner and then maybe I'll be left with no bathroom at all on the first level, or just something that's completely unusable and I'll have to tear the whole build down. So sometimes that happens, and those are the videos you don't see because they're never made into videos. But most of the time, I just do it like this. So again, I just plan ahead one room usually, but I have to know where I'm going from there in my mind somehow. And just like you'll see in the next frame, when I look at it and I think, oh, maybe the back of the house is going to be a little too flat, then before I even start to decorate that room that I'm on, I try to also consider what the house is going to look like on the outside. Now remember, that's just a matter of personal taste. Some people really like more boxy type builds, but I just like a lot more dimension. So I want to make sure that as I'm building the rooms on, that I'm not making it too flat on some of the sides, if that makes sense. So we'll go to the next question here. This is from Jimmy. Jimmy wants to know, what is your favorite live event and do you like playing with your Sims? My favorite live event, that is a really, really hard one. I've really loved pretty much all of the ones we've gotten in the last year, year and a half. Probably the farmhouse event and the lake house. I really loved every item we got in the lake house, but I have to really say, like I said, in the past year, year and a half, there hasn't been too much that I don't like, except for two things come to mind. I don't remember what it was called, but it was that family home. Wasn't that what it was called? I really got upset with that house. The items were good, but the house was terrible. And I try not to be negative in my videos, but I got so mad at that crappy house that they gave us for a prize. I think I just kept it up the whole video. People were laughing at me in the comments, and that was okay. That made me laugh too, but that house was awful. And the other house I really disliked, and really the event, some of the items were really nice, was the glam mansion. I really did not like that house at all. I think it was Joy's Creative Finger said it looked like a mall or a jewelry shop. It was just so unrealistic. Again, we did get some good items from that event, But if I were to say which were my least favorite, definitely those two. But other than that, I really loved everything, especially recently. But the two that stick out in my mind that I really like the most would be the Christmas farmhouse event from year before last and this past Christmas with the lake house. Really, really loved those. So you can still see me kind of toying around with that living room. I'm really getting concerned at that point about where the house is going. um, it happens. Sometimes it doesn't happen at all with a very large house, it just kind of flows. But with this one, I had a little trouble with this one, mainly because it's on a small lot and I knew that I didn't want it to be too big because it's going to be for a single mom. So I think that's probably the roadblock that I was kind of having at that point. I didn't want to have a huge, huge living room, but I definitely knew that I wanted to at least have room up front for not only an entrance, but also a bathroom. I had already put the laundry room in the garage to save space, but at that point I was just looking for the right size and the right furnishings for the living room. But I went ahead and started decorating it as you can see here, and I just keep going forward from there. So let me go back to Facebook. We have Courtney. Courtney's asked me several questions here. The first one is, how many hours do you play Sims per day? That really depends too. Now, before I started my channel, I usually played at night for maybe an hour or two after my kids went to bed. I did that for years and years since the beginning of the game. This has actually been my favorite hobby ever, and I have kept at it for that many years. But now that I have the channel, and I've had the channel for technically 2 years in May, but I didn't really start doing anything with it for about 6 months after I set the channel up. So really a year and a half I've kind of been at this, where I build not only for myself, but I build for other people too. It depends. If it's a house that I'm just doing off the top of my head for myself just to have fun, it really depends. It could be maybe an hour one day, 2 hours. It could be 3 hours, over 2 days. It also really depends on how big the project is. But if it's a house for a request, particularly if it's for a large project, it could really take several days. So what I'll do is I'll maybe work on a request that's more difficult on and off, but at the same time I'm also building a house that's just for me, and of course both of them will turn out to be videos, but I'll go back and forth. So it really just averages. Plus you have to take into account, after the build is done, I have to set the video up, I have to edit it, and all of that, and that can take quite a bit of time, and I try to do all of that at night after my kids go to bed. So hours wise per day, Courtney, to answer your question, again, it really just depends, but if I were to average out time spent building as well as putting the videos together, and then I also forgot to mention this, I have to voice over it. I have to look for a quiet time in my house to voice over. It can be a little bit of a challenge, but I would say I work on it around 2 to 3 hours a day, but that's broken up. I hope that answers your question. And Courtney also asked, what type of decorating style do you lean more towards, and what style do you try to avoid? When I am building just for myself, I think I probably lean more towards traditional. I do like to do a really nice modern home every now and then on my own, but I do get a lot of requests for those, so in my mind I'm always going to be able to build a modern home with someone in mind, a subscriber. So when I'm just playing around, typically I'll go for more of a classic or a traditional style. I do like contemporary as well, but if you notice, a lot of my styles depend on what the new current items are. And I'm kind of glad you asked this because that will also influence the style that I'm going to lean towards in that build. I get negative comments every now and then, not a lot. You guys are great. I would say 99% of my comments are just wonderful and so appreciated. But believe it or not, I do have some people who get very angry with me for just using new items sometimes. Now, to be fair, most of my builds have newer and older items in them, but when we get an update, most of my builds after the update, say maybe the next 3, 4, 5 builds, do have a lot of new items in them. That's for two reasons. Number one, I'm excited just like anybody else would be. And just because I have a YouTube channel, that shouldn't limit me to not playing with a new toy. And I just really don't think that that's fair, but that's okay. And the other reason is because I like to show you the new items, particularly after we get the updates, not only the ones we get in the events, but also the online purchases. I actually spend my own money and I try to buy most of the online packs because while they're available, there are some people who just don't have that money just to spend. And if they do want to spend it, they want to make sure that it's going to be something that they really like. So if I can do that for you and show you what these items are going to look like in a house that you're going to build and help you decide whether or not you would like to spend your own money on it, then that's something that I'd like to do for my subscribers. And usually, like I said, those new items come out in the online packs right around the time the events do. So, of course, I'm going to want to use all of those new things. Who wouldn't? And then let's see here. What style do you try to avoid? Well, Courtney, let's see. I don't think there's a particular style that I try to avoid. There are certain types of builds that I try to avoid. And one of those would be a huge remodel. So, you know, Alyssa from Sims Therapy does the reviews of the architect homes. Every other Friday when we get those, I'm just being honest with you on this video, I almost pray that she doesn't assign me one of those huge houses to remodel, because those of you who have been subscribed to me for a while, you know when I do remodels, I don't change the walls. Now, if it's like a 5-story home, I may take off a few levels on the top. I may take out the basement, but I keep the footprint. And for what levels I'm keeping, I don't change the walls. So those builds really scare me when I have to go in and remodel them because I don't know what to do with all of those rooms. I really love small to medium builds. That's just the way I am in real life. In real life, we used to live in a very large home, and we decided a few years ago to downsize. We have a lot of kids. Most of them are now grown and gone. We now have 2 little ones left at home, and we downsized, and I actually designed the home that we built. We moved in a little over a year ago myself on the app. I put a video out a while back on the app that I was using, that Home Design 3D. I actually designed our real life house on that app and we built it. So it's a small home, and that's what I'm into personally. So when I'm building on Sims Freeplay, I just enjoy building the smaller homes and the medium-sized homes. There's another reason that I really like the small to medium-sized homes too, is because a lot of people just starting out or who don't have a lot of currency in the game, smaller houses are more economical for them to build and also less for them to decorate. And you can really take a small home if you have quite a few items in your inventory, and you can make it really beautiful and be really satisfied with that in your game. So that's another reason why I like to lean toward more small to medium sized homes. And then Courtney also asked, did you have a YouTube channel before you created the Facebook group or after? I had the YouTube channel first, and then after that I made the Facebook group. And then she was talking about how she's asking because she has a Sims group on Facebook and it only has about 14 members. So yeah, Courtney, I know what you're asking, and I think our Facebook group really took off due to this channel because, of course, in the intro I have a little flash that plugs our Facebook group. But I also think as the Facebook group grew, it just kind of became more exposed, and I think a lot of other people that were already in the group that came over from this YouTube channel started to also invite others, and it just kind of took off from there. And you can see me now. I'm already upstairs. So as I was kind of babbling on there, you probably noticed that I went from decorating room by room and building room by room to completely finishing out the top level layout wise and then going in and decorating everything. So, like I said in the beginning, that happens sometimes. Sometimes, especially if I have a little bit of trouble on the first floor, once I get upstairs, I do want to just get the build finished and I'm ready to go in and decorate. So I go ahead and lay out that top level from time to time. And that was again one of these builds where I did that. And I'm really glad that I edited out a lot of my scrolling, because when I edited this video, because I had to build this house and then go, when you scroll and scroll and scroll when you're looking for items, the footage for this video ended up being about 3 hours long. So nobody wants to sit here and listen to me talk for 3 hours. So that's why it's not really looking like I did it in fast forward, but you'll see parts cut. That's me cutting out the scrolling. I really like how that bedroom turned out, and that lake house bed is just beautiful in there. And then you'll see me just looking around for what style I want to continue to use in the house, and then going up there and decorating the second floor. All right, let's go to the next question. It's from Savannah. Savannah asked me, what new items would you like to see added to the game? My answer to that would be, at this point, it would be more like build features, because as far as items go, I really wanted black railings and black doors, and we just got those in online packs, thank goodness. What I would really like to see, and I've seen this in a lot of the comments on Sims Freeplay's Facebook page, people really want, me included, the ability to be able to make different shaped rooms. I'm not asking for curved rooms or curved walls or anything like that, but we still, at this point in the game, should not be stuck with just 4 walls. We've had the capability in the game to build different shape pools since the beginning. And it would just be like that. If you were making a room, imagine when you build the pool, you build one part of it, and then you come over and you drag another part over into the existing pool that you've built. It wouldn't be any different than that. So I'm not quite sure why they just can't do it. It makes no sense to me at all. But Savannah, to answer your question, that would be what I would really, really like to have added to the game. Sigrid asked me, do you ever play with your Sims? I actually do. I used to play with them a lot more, but since I started this channel and I use a lot of my time in the game building for requests or after events or whatever, I don't find myself with enough time to really play with my Sims like I'd like to. And I don't have any regrets at all about, of course, having this channel. I absolutely love doing this. This has definitely been not just a great creative outlet for me, it's just been good for me. I'm kind of an introvert and sort of a shy person, so to be able to come on here and talk to you and actually make a recording, that was a huge step for me. That, and I think all humans have this sort of secret fear of rejection or not measuring up. And when I created my channel, there were already a lot of really good YouTube channels for Sims Freeplay. So I didn't even imagine that I maybe would get 100 subscribers. And when I got that, I just thought that that was great. Okay, mission accomplished. I'm just going to continue and have fun. And it's really grown. And as far as playing with my Sims, I would really like to play with them more. But like I said, I'm so busy with this, and thankfully so, that I just don't have a whole lot of time to do that. Alright, so you've seen me do that master bedroom, the closet, and now I've moved over to this sort of pass-through room, and it takes you to the family bathroom, and it takes you to the preteens room. So I decided to use that room as a home office and little den there, and now you see me moving on to decorating the upstairs bath. It's not an ensuite bath for the master, it's just a bathroom for upstairs because there are only 2 bedrooms, and it's right in the middle of the upstairs there. All right, so next question would be from Lizeth. And Lizeth asks, what is your favorite build you have done so far and why? That's a really good question because as you sort of go back and forth in my list of videos, if you were skipping around, in one video you might hear me say, this is my favorite build. In another video, either before or after that, you might hear me say, no, this is my favorite build. It's really hard to say, so I'm just going to have to go with instinct. The build that I did around this past Christmas, where I did that tiny townhome community, it's actually still decorated for Christmas because I keep forgetting to go back and take the Christmas decorations out. That was a lot of fun to build. Another one that comes to mind would be my tiny house community. That's located in my mysterious island, and it was a lot of fun too. But as far as favorites, those are the two that really stick out in my mind that I've built from the ground up. But those of you who are friends with me on Facebook that can see my town, you can go through there and you'll see the ones that have been around for quite a while. So anything you see still standing where the video was done a long time ago, then those are what I call keepers, and those are my favorites. So now I'm decorating the preteen room here. I really love that bed. I think that is so pretty, so I use that as inspiration for that entire room. And just putting some chairs there. And you'll see here in a minute, I was not satisfied at all with the way the decorating was going. I had put this here in the corner, and you can see me hesitating. I still wasn't even sure about it, so I kind of backed out and looked, and I just didn't like how that was looking so far. So you'll see me change all of that around in just a minute, and I put a pretty cool accent wall in there from some really old wallpaper here in just a second too. So next question, Amber asks, what furniture did I buy from the store that I absolutely love and use a bunch? Well, Amber, I kind of touched on this earlier. I try to buy what I can buy from the online store simply because I like to show my subscribers what everything would look like if they decided to purchase it, or maybe decide, do I want this pack or this pack, if they have to choose. But I'm really in love with anything from the living room section, and I like the outdoor stuff because we've gotten a lot of that lately, and we really hadn't gotten nice outdoor things for a good amount of time, really. We were stuck with the same old outdoor things until recently. But as far as the online store itself goes, if it's related to living room or anything that has to do with artwork, also I've noticed in the past maybe year, they'll take things that we already have and like and then just make them in different colors. And that always makes me very, very happy when I see that. So if there's an item that I already use a lot, but I'm kind of getting tired of it, and then all of a sudden in the online store I see, oh, it comes in black or, pink or whatever color now, I snatch those up quickly. So Ben asked, what is your favorite style of home? I kind of talked about that a little bit earlier too. I do lean more toward the traditional, small to medium, and every now and then I do like to do a modern or contemporary, depending on the request. So as you saw, I finished up the preteen room here and also that bathroom. I love how that Villa Vanity looks with that new rug, and I love how the preteen room turned out. I think that old ballerina wall there as an accent wall turned out really pretty and really set off the whole room. So that was the upstairs, there's the downstairs, and next you're going to see me start to work on the exterior. And while that's going on, I'll answer some more questions here. Let's see. Ivan wants to know, have I played other Sims games? And there's also a question from Adam about, have I tried The Sims Mobile? So I've actually tried, is it Sims 4? And I have tried Sims Mobile. With Sims 4, I kind of liked it, but it was mostly something that my daughter was into, and sometimes I would go in and just build with her. But like I said, I had already started playing this years before, and I guess that's just what I like the most is Sims Freeplay. It's also more portable for me, so I can take my iPad pretty much anywhere, and that is another part that I liked about just having Sims Freeplay. As far as Sims Mobile goes, yes, that's portable and it's on the iPad here, but I tried it. Actually, I tried it probably 3 times. I tried to really get into it, and I just didn't care for it. There were things I did like about it, but I just kept coming back to Sims Freeplay. And after a while there, I just kind of forgot about Sims Mobile. It's actually still on this iPad. I just don't ever go and play it. I know a lot of people in the Facebook group really like Sims Mobile, though, so I'm glad you all are enjoying it, those of you who do. So I'm really loving those new white fences. Aren't they beautiful? I haven't used the terracotta colored ones yet, but I think they look really pretty. And I love the design at the tops of the fences as well. And you can see me there. I'm just duplicating the farmhouse flower bushes there. I thought they would look really pretty, particularly with those flower pots by the front doors. So next question, this is from Amira. Amira wants to know, can you name or show us 5 decoration tab items that are a must in your build? That is a really good question, Amira. Must-haves, that would be more like categories, I guess, for me. I really like to have at least one large couch in the living room. I really would prefer having a sectional in the living room because that's just what I like in real life. As far as beds go, I like to have a king-size bed in the master if I can. If it's a smaller home that won't fit a king-size bed, then of course I'm going to go with a double bed. Another thing I really like to have is some sort of an outdoor space. Now, depending on the lot size, sometimes that is just a balcony or a covered porch. But I do like to have some sort of outdoor living space because, again, I try to make my builds as realistic as possible. I'm trying to think of 2 other things that would be a must because I do so many builds. Well, there I do have one. I really like to have a bathroom per floor. Now, I don't accomplish that in all of my builds because it depends on the amount of space that I have. I think I can probably think of 1 or 2 builds where I don't actually have a bathroom on every floor. The other thing I really would say is a must-have for me is a laundry room. Now, that also depends. Sometimes I can't have a bathroom on every floor or even a laundry room at all if it is a remodel of an architect home because I have to work with what's there. So, but those are the must-haves for me, and I hope I answered your question correctly. So now you can see me going through the build and adding all the little odds and ends such as lighting, anything that I may have forgotten before I go out back to do the backyard. Next question, and this is a very, very good question. It's one that's a little difficult to answer, but I'm going to do it honestly. Diesel asked me, do you use any money or LP cheats? How do you complete all the update quests so fast? And he says it's the candle making ones. What I'm going to say to answer that question is, without putting my own game or anyone else at risk, is I've been playing this game, like I said, for a very long time. And through the years, there have been several legal loopholes in the game, whether they're glitches or whatever, that I have taken advantage of. And do I feel bad about that? Absolutely not, because those are things that the game overlooked, and there were even statements put out about them, saying that, you know what, it's an oversight on our part, and until we patch it, have at it. So that's what we did. And because of that, and because of how long I've been playing the game, that makes it easier for not just me, but a lot of players who have been playing the game for a long time to be able to get through events quicker than if you're newer at the game. Do I encourage cheating? Of course not. But I will say this. I will say that people who do hack the game, I don't think that if you don't hack the game, you should get mad at them. And there's a reason for that. I honestly feel like, and if someone from EA is watching this, great, you need to hear this. You cheat your players on a daily basis. You make events that are very difficult, if not impossible, to get through. And that leaves a lot of people either not getting the items that you're teasing them with, or they have to go out of pocket and pay a great deal of money to get them. And even if you just made it to where they would just have to spend a little bit of money to get through it, that would be okay. I understand you have a business to run, but you make it very difficult for people to get all the way through these events, honestly. And because of that, you have people, which I don't know how to hack a game. I mean, I'm just being really, I don't even have a laptop to do it. I've heard it takes a laptop. I have absolutely no idea how to hack this game. But I will say that the people who do, I don't blame them. I know that there are a lot of people who are going to disagree with me on this and leave me really mean comments, and that's okay. Blocked and blessed. Hashtag blocked and blessed, because I don't put up with negativity. But I will say this, who can blame them? If they have the ability to do it and they're playing this game for fun, what fun is it to watch all of these nice items be put in front of you, and no one either A, has the time because, we have lives, or B, has the money? It makes it impossible. And EA does this on purpose. They could make a little bit of money off of each person and be fair. That would be fine. Like I said, they have a business to run. But the way they treat their players is downright disgraceful. So as far as cheating goes, if you have the capability of doing it, keep it to yourself. And that's between you and the sim gods. And just like we always say in our Facebook group, don't advertise it. Keep it to yourself. Don't ever show your currency. It's just going to make people upset. And that's pretty much all I can say about the issue. But I hope I not only answered your question, Diesel, but also addressed the issue of hacking the game. So I hope that answers your question. So you see me going here, and I'm just going around looking for little things that maybe I could add to the house, and I just want to make sure that I really like how it's turned out. For a small lot, I think it has a pretty good sized little patio on the back, and I'm really liking how all the rooms are set up. So now we're just going through and looking around. I just want to make sure when I do this, before I make a video and I'm actually doing the build itself, that I haven't left anything out, like doors or lights. And not too long ago, I actually left out a toilet. And during the editing process, I had to put a little note on the screen. I don't know what happened there, but I did leave the toilet out of the bathroom. There was a spot for the toilet. I just forgot to put it in. So I always try to go back through and make sure that I have everything that needs to be there. And then next we're going to take a look at the grid. I usually put those on the end of the video now, but while we're doing that, I'm going to answer the last question, and that is from Angelo. Angelo wants to know, how do you choose furniture style and color schemes for your builds? Well, normally, not for this house, but normally, if there's a piece of furniture that I really love and I want to use in a build, I will take that piece of furniture and usually design the room around it. That's something I really enjoy doing. So when I go to decorate a room, typically I'll find that item that I really want to use in that room, and then I will use it to kind of be an inspiration for the rest of the room. So you saw the grid, and I've answered your questions. Now we're going to look at just where I've put everything from above here one last time. I think this is a really cute house. I really did enjoy building it a lot. And if you're still here, congratulations, because I know this is probably a very, very long video. But I do want to say thank you to Selah. And again, if I'm not pronouncing your name correctly, let me know in the comments. And also Corrupted Foxy for your request for a house for a single mom. And I really hope you've enjoyed this type of video. It's kind of long overdue. Again, it's asked for quite a bit, and I'm glad that I did it. And I really enjoyed doing the Q&A too. You all ask a lot of really good questions. If you did enjoy it, let me know by hitting that like button or leaving me a comment. I really do appreciate all of you. I hope everyone is doing well. Please stay well, stay safe. Love you guys, and I will see you next time.